much of the success that we experience in our lives and our wealth and our health and our relationships and everything has so much to do with our identity. You know, when I am reflecting on my life and I'm doing my goals and reviewing my visions and all that kind of stuff, and there's something in my vision that I desire that isn't quite in my reality yet, the question that I ask myself is, who do I get to be in order to pull that to me closer? Who do I get to be in order to embody the version of me where that's totally effortless? And it's not, my love, about working harder and forcing it and pushing it and grinding and white knuckling our way through. It's about being the embodiment of your future self in advance so you can effortlessly draw these things to you. This is how all of creation is ultimately created, right? It's like we have these desires inside of us, these visions inside of us, these dreams inside of us to, make more money, make more impact, use our voice, create a life of freedom, whatever it is. And oftentimes we are so held back because there's an archaic version of ourselves that is old. It's not even ours. It's maybe something that someone told us years ago, and we're still living under this identity that we're not good enough, we're not smart enough, we're not strong enough, whatever it is crazy. So here's the deal. I am going to spend 3 days with you. I'm going to pour into you. I'm going to take everything in my brain, in my heart, in my body, and I'm going to deliver it over 3 days in the Breathwork Breakthrough Challenge. Day 1 is all about income, how we can truly design lives of attracting infinite amounts of wealth. Day 2 is all about impact, how we can use breathwork and somatic healing to actually impact not only our lives, but the lives of the clients that choose to work with us. And day 3 is all about freedom, how we can design businesses of pure freedom. So this is for you if you are a coach, a healer, a facilitator, and you want to add more income to your business, more impact to your clientele, and have more freedom in your life. Or this is for you if you are a aspiring healer or coach and you haven't quite found the right vehicle in order to express your spiritual gifts and you're looking for that now. Either way, I would love to have you there. Head on over to pausebreathwork.com/challenge. I'll also put the link in the show notes for you to just have some easy access to it. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be so much fun. I'm so looking forward to putting on this challenge. We've been doing this for 7 years, and every single time they just get juicier and juicier and juicier. It's like a 3-day breathwork party where we're just vibing out, creating amazing visions for ourselves and really holding ourselves to a higher standard. So come on down. It's going to be amazing. www.pausebreathwork.com/challenge. All right, you guys, I had my dear friend Moira on the podcast. Dang, this woman is so epic. Talk about a permission slip. This girl went from being rock bottom and alcoholic, like drinking every single day, just like absolutely going nowhere in her life, to being the #1 Beachbody coach worldwide, making multiple millions and millions and millions of dollars a year. And she has just completely redesigned her life, her identity, herself. And she is absolutely thriving. It is one of the coolest, like rock bottom to absolutely thriving stories that I've heard. It was just so heartwarming to be like, oh my gosh, this is so rad. Like every single human on the planet has the ability to radically change the trajectory of their life. So if you are feeling right now in your life like, oh my gosh, like how am I ever going to get to my vision? How am I ever going to get to my dreams? Like I feel so bogged down with trauma or, finances or whatever it is. I want you to really soak this in. And she also gave really tangible, beautiful, epic tools of how to begin to reinvent yourself, reinvent your identity, set a big vision for yourself, because it's not about working harder. It's not about being the smartest person in the room. It's about the energetic and somatic experience that we have. So I am so excited for you to sink your teeth into this episode. I know you're going to love it. All right, let's dive in.
Can't be contained.
Moira, thank you so much for being on the Can't Be Contained podcast. How you doing?
Girl, I'm good. I'm so excited to be here. I just love even the title, Can't Be Contained. Like, let's do that.
You know what I'm saying? It's so funny. It like came to me so randomly a couple years ago where we were rebranding the podcast. So originally the podcast was called the Hungry for Happiness podcast because of my old company. And then it was just like the Sam Skelly podcast forever. And then as I was going into breath work and somatic healing and all the things, I was like, okay, I want to have more of a name that's more congruent with that body of work. Yeah. And so our content team and our marketing team for months and months and months was working on this concept called the Embodied Life podcast. Ooh. And we were doing it. We like got the branding. We spent months on it, invested tons of money into it. And then the day that it launched and I was like doing the first episode, we were in the studio and I just started bawling my eyes out. My whole team is like, what is going on? Like, I'm like, guys, I'm like, this is not it. This is not it. And they're like, what do you mean this is not it? We've worked on this concept for 8 months. What are you talking about?
Yes, I get that. I am kind of in the middle of one of those situations right now. So I get that on every level. It's like it ticks all the boxes. You think about it all, but it's not it.
It doesn't hit. It doesn't hit. I didn't feel the vibration. I didn't feel it. Yeah. And then the next day I was out for lunch with one of my mentors and he was like, what happened yesterday? And I was like, Patrick, I don't know, dude. I just can't be contained. I can't just have one. And then we both looked at each other. We're like, that's it. That's it. So
that's it.
Yeah. Okay, tell me about the thingy that you're going through right now, if you feel comfortable.
Gosh, you just gave me an idea. So it's so ironic. I'm like taking notes for myself already. I always say, like something that I've been like people know me for. We've had jewelry made. I always say, listen to the whisper. Like the whisper is never wrong, right? Mm-hmm. Listen to the whisper. Listen to the whisper. And then we get in like marketing meetings and branding meetings and we hire teams for tens of thousands of dollars and we start whiteboarding everything and we overcomplicate the crap out of it, which is what we do with our life all the time. Yeah. And it's like, just listen to the whisper, like 100%. Get out of your head and into your heart and it's there. But it's so hard to find sometimes amidst the noise, you know?
Yeah. One of my really good friends, I went for coffee with him this week, and he is an investor and a CEO for many different companies. So he like goes in there and he invests in them and he acts as CEO and whatever, he runs these companies. And he was working on one brand that I really love. And I was like, hey, how's it going with that brand? And he's like, I had to pull myself out. He's like, I'm still an investor, but I'm not a CEO. And I was like, why? He's like, because the company actually needs the intuition of the founder in order to thrive. And I was like, oh my God, that is freaking it. Like,
I just got goosebumps.
I know, right? It's like, I remember a couple years ago when I hired a whole leadership team and everything. And like the more people that I hired on 6-figure salaries, the more my intuition was squished. And I got to this point where I was like, guys, pause is missing the magic of what created it in the first place. Like my intuition has to be on our board of directors. And if it's not, I'm out. Like I can't do it because it's like, that is the magic, is the whisper. As you said, I love that. I love that.
Yeah. Oh gosh, so good.
So good. Okay, so where are you? You said you were sweating your tits off because you had to put the AC on. Actually, those are my words, not yours, but
I'm in South Carolina. So Charleston, South Carolina, which I love. We love being here. I wouldn't change it for the world. I used to live in California. I just said last night, I walked in like through our pool in our side yard and it's like blustery and warm. And I was like, oh, it feels so good. And I said to my family, because it's been decades since I lived in California, I was like, I never had this in California. The whole time I lived in California, which I love Southern California, I used to always say, I miss warm nights. I miss warm nights where you can go outside in a tank top, where you can eat dinner in a tank top, where you don't have to put a sweater on. Yeah. So I love it here, but it's hot in the summer.
Is there bugs? Hot. That's the only reason I don't go to warm places.
Lots of bugs. And they almost made me move. Like, I'm not exaggerating. They almost made me move. So I moved from San Diego where there's like not a bug in sight.
That's where I live.
Oh,
that's why I live here, because there's no bugs.
There's no bugs. There's no bugs. There's no heat.
Oh my gosh.
So I moved from there to here, and literally I felt like maybe the universe was telling me to move, because the first week, or they were just telling me, suck it up. We're going to show you how it really is. Just throw you into the deep end.
This is real life, sister. This is real life.
So where I grew up, we didn't have cockroaches. Down here, people call them, they're like, oh, it's a palmetto bug. I'm like, that is a cockroach? And this is not normal for just cockroaches to be in your house. This is so gross. And literally within days of me moving here, there was a spider in my kitchen. And I remember smashing it. Oh and 1,000 babies popped out of the belly.
Oh, gross. Oh, no. Oh, no.
And I was like, I don't think I can do this. I don't think I can do this. Like, I can't. Yeah. That was my indoctrination to living in the South.
Oh my gosh, what an indoctrination. Yeah, like we go to places and Eric's like, wouldn't it be amazing? And I was like, yeah, but the bugs. Yeah. Like I can't. Like so I grew up in Vancouver, Canada, and again, like there's like bugs there, but it's not crazy. But we would go to Winnipeg where my family's from, and I was like, I can't go outside because of the mosquitoes. Like it's so intense. Anyway, I think San Diego turns you a little bit soft because like there's like everything's just so great here, you know, except for the taxes and the politics. Other than that,
it's pure heaven. I was just there a few weeks ago. It is literally my favorite place on earth. I mean, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. We're up like Encinitas area. It's quite.
That's exactly. So I always say I worked my way up the ladder literally because I got sober out there. So it was like I started Mission Beach, then I moved to PB, then I moved to La Jolla, and then I moved back east, and I would have landed in Encinitas for sure.
Yeah, it's such a vibe. Yeah. Okay, so for people who don't know you, take us on a little bit of a life journey and walk us through some of those life events that shaped you to be the woman you are now.
Yeah, well, to get the whole picture, because it's so, I always say like, you learn through story, right? Like you learn through the journey, not just like, oh, I had this magical moment happen. Yeah. So I was born in Maryland. I grew up in Maryland, big Irish Catholic family, youngest of 6. And I was just like born like balls to the wall, right? Like, let's go. Yeah. On every single thing I did, as far back as I can remember, I was driven, like in every sport, even when I played piano, in academics, like I want to be the best. I want to win. I want to win everything. Enneagram 3, all the way.
There you go.
And addiction runs in my family, but nothing close to home. Like it was like, oh, your uncle that we never see kind of thing. Right. And so I didn't really grow up with a huge understanding of addiction, just a little bit of a narrative of like, be careful. And I'm telling you, the first time I took a drink, I want to say it was like my genetics coupled with just my personality. Like anything I tried, I did all the way.
Yeah.
And I was so tight that when I had my first drink, I was like, I think that's the first time in my life I took a deep breath. Like, and just, I always say it felt like I had 20 plates spinning at all times. Yeah. And the first time I took a drink, I was like, I can let them go. Wow. And so I was driven to like get that feeling like right out of that first gate, like go, like I wanted more and more and more and more. And so I ended up drinking myself into like extreme addiction by the time I was 19. So like really fast. And of course there's a long story that we could talk. I'm not going to give you the whole drunkalog, but I ended up running away to California because I was like, when I say rock bottom, life falling apart, like my family being like, you need help, like failing out of school. And I was like pre-med. You know, I had all the like accolades to like go to a top 10 school and a sports scholarship, and I just threw it all away with addiction. And when I ran away to California, I ran away to San Diego, which is like sobriety capital of the United States. I mean, I didn't know, but God knew that I was landing in a place that a 20-year-old could get sober, you know, because
what a blessing.
Yeah.
What a blessing.
Yes. So I ended up getting sober when I was actually 21 in San Diego, California, and really what I thought was literally the end of my life, because as an addict, you're like, the only way for me to live is to get sober, and this means like I'm going to be in a rocking chair for the rest of my life. Right. Like that's what I had this image in my head, like I guess this is the only way. Right. And little did I know, like my whole life began then, you know, my whole life. So yeah. So that's
Tell
where
me about a day in the life. Like what's a day in the life of someone who has an addiction that bad?
That bad. I mean, it was, I would wake up and drink. So I had to, in the end, I had to drink in order to function. So in order to literally speak, in order to calm the like trembling hands. So I had this really pivotal moment where like one, and I don't even really understand what holiday it was because you're living in that much of a blackout. Like months go by, you know, you can't really place when things happened.
Yeah.
But I remember the last time I was home for a holiday, I was sitting at this huge family table of like dozens of people, and I couldn't get the fork to my mouth. The food was like falling off the fork because I was shaking so bad. And that was like one of those wake up moments where I was like, holy shit. And so my mom was a nurse practitioner, and I walked down the hall to my childhood bedroom and I pulled one of her medical textbooks off the bookshelf and I flipped to Alcoholism. And I remember reading like beginning stages, middle stage, late stage.
Yeah.
And I had all the signs of late stage alcoholism at 21 years old. Like
Dang.
blackout, not just blackouts because everybody blacks out, but like, I mean, crazy, crazy things. So yeah, it was horrible. But the reality, the torture of it is you wake up every single day swearing to God you're not going to do it. Like promising yourself that you're never going to do this. And 30 minutes later, you're doing it. You know, and it's just
what's that like?
cycle.
Like what is the thing that goes off in your head to be like, I'm absolutely not going to do this, and then something psychologically, emotionally, energetically happens. Like, what is that goes like, yeah.
I mean, I think you're so physically tortured without it that there's a physical allergy. I mean, it's an actual, they say medically, it's an allergy. So it's a physical allergy and a mental obsession that like the humanness of you can't overcome, you know?
Yeah.
And so I mean, I had more willpower than anyone on planet Earth. Like if there's a willful child, it's me. Yeah. And so that willpower just can't win. And so and every time you make that choice, you damage your confidence in your self-worth. I mean, I was such a confident kid. Like I never dealt with like insecurity or any of that stuff. It was like the addiction is what unraveled me because it destroyed my confidence every day of my life. Yeah. You know?
I think there's some interesting trends going on right now. I think more people are coming back to God, and a lot of people are becoming sober or sober curious. And I've never been a big drinker. It was never my thing. I was always like the designated driver. I was a professional dancer, and I always like it'd be like fun to do it, but like I was never really into it. And even now, and I had this thought in January. I was like, I could just not do it, you know, for ever. Like, you know, one of those things, nothing. And it was so interesting because I wear an Oura ring. I think you and I have the same color. Is that an Oura ring? Yeah.
Yes.
I like how you paired it though. You put some jewelry on it. That's nice. So anyway, I've been like aggressively tracking my Oura stats. And I get obsessive over it because it's so fun. And the other night I hosted this dinner party, and my friends love like craft cocktails. So I was like, I'll make a craft cocktail for them, and I made this like gin craft cocktail, whatever. And I was like, I'll have one of these cocktails. I had one cocktail. The next day, my every metric on my Oura was in half. Like my sleep is always like 92, 93. Yeah. It was like 60. My HRV is always above 100. It was in the tank. Crazy. Like from one drink. Yeah. I'm like, this is crazy. And I knew alcohol wasn't good. It doesn't land good on my body, which is why I never really, but it was so wild to see how bad it actually was for me. Yeah. So I was blown away.
I get it. I've got a story with that too, not alcohol related, but I remember my girlfriend came over and I was so mesmerized by the stats, you know, that I was like, look at this. And I show her the data, and my HRV, which is heart rate variability, is like, you know, good. And then it drops by like 60% one night, and then good drops. And she was like, what did you do? Yeah. And I was like, are you ready for this? I ate Skinny Pop before I went to bed. I'm like, what? But like, we don't realize, like, we always hear like our body can't process corn, or it's so genetically modified, or we shouldn't eat before we go to bed. I'm like, that's the difference.
Totally.
Between that one small choice and what your body is trying to, it's what your body's basically, both the alcohol and the skinny pop, our bodies are basically trying to process toxins all night. And it's like, can't get proper rest because it's over here like overworking.
Totally. Yeah. Totally. It's so interesting. You know, it's like, I think so much of the world is just living in a chronic place of just feeling like shit and calling it normal. And something that I feel so obsessed with and so fascinated by is like, how good can we actually feel? How good can we actually take it? You know, especially as women, like how can we feel our absolute best and our femininity and our power? How can we feel like wealth and like not wealth earning it like a man, but wealth earning it like a woman through collaboration and energy and alignment? Like how can we actually push the limits on all of these things to really truly create heaven on earth? Like I'm so obsessed with that conversation right now of like not playing the when then game and none of that, but just like truly can we be an embodiment of all we desire now, energetically, emotionally, physically, the whole thing. And the answer is yes. It's, you know, so I'm curious for you, someone who believes in, not only do you believe in manifestation and you play that game, but you're also incredibly strategic. The things that you've done and built are super impressive. How do you show up as a wealthy embodied woman? And what are some of the practices and rituals that you do in order to sort of stay in the vein of that?
Yeah, such a great question. Thank you for asking. So I feel like there were these quantum leaps in my life. You know, when you look back, it's like, and it all goes back to what we said in the very beginning, like listening to that whisper. Like when I got sober, I was like, okay, I'm supposed to like get back on track, and, you know, I need to go back and get in school so I can pursue medicine. Like I always thought I would, like the world tells me I'm supposed to, because I look back on two things with that. What drove me my whole childhood to become a doctor was I want to help people feel better, but I also like money. You know, I'm like, that sums it up, right? And prestige, right? Like respect or something, you know, in that regard. And so that's really what drove me to that dream. And I ended up becoming certified. This was 25 years ago. So Pilates certification was way different. It was super in depth. People with like advanced degrees were getting certified in Pilates, not just like a weekend certification. But I listened to the whisper. So I had a sales job at the time in downtown La Jolla. I was selling the La Jolla Village News ads too. So my job was to walk downtown La Jolla every day of my life and just pop in and out of every single retail store. And I walked into a Pilates studio, and I'd always been an athlete. I'm super like fascinated with the human body. I walked into a Pilates studio, and I remember being like, what is this? It was all the machines. And I don't even know what they said to me, but like, it's almost like my mind leaps like in a movie. I remember walking through the grocery store that night, talking to my brother on the phone, and I was like, I'm going to do this with my life. And I was so, you know, when you get that like fire that you're just like talking a million miles an hour. And of course my brother, because he loves me, is like, what do you like, just kind of talking me off like back from it. Like, what do you think? No. He's like, you don't even know what it is. Like, you haven't even taken a class. And I'm like, I know, but I swear I'm supposed to do this with my life. You know what I mean? And it's like, when you actually leap in those moments that make no sense, that's when the doors open, right? 100%. I actually thought I was doing that in that moment because I was like, this also makes sense. Like, my logical brain was like, I can earn a good living doing something I love and go back to school. So the puzzle pieces fit. Yeah. Well, that led to me to never, and I wouldn't have signed myself up for it if God said, you're going to do this for the next 16 years. I would have been like, no, thank you. I'm way above that. My ego. Yeah. And lo and behold, it allowed me to be an entrepreneur. It allowed me to change so many lives. It allowed me to manage and lead people. It taught me how to build a business. It taught me so much and ended up being this incredible career. And then like 16 years later, I had to listen to that whisper again, right? Where it was like, take the leap of faith into this thing where everyone is like, what are you doing? You're going to ruin your reputation. You know, my mom at the time, 16 years at that pivotal point where I was like 37, I think. Like, I remember her coming over to our house and taking my husband out to dinner alone because she thought I was making such a bad decision career-wise. And that career decision, that the only one that was telling me it was right was like deep in my soul, and my husband going, fuck, whatever makes you happy, you know? Yeah. And I took that leap of faith and I went on to build a multi-million-dollar business. Like, if I'd listened to everyone in my life, I'd probably be a doctor and hating it, which a lot of people I know are. You know,
100%. Yeah. Those whispers are so valuable. Like there's so much gold. Like if I look back on the things that I created in the world that have brought the most amount of fulfillment, happiness, impact, income, the rest of it, it's in those moments where it doesn't make sense. My eyes are closed and there's just like that voice of God that's like, go do this thing.
Yeah.
You know, the clearest one and the best example of this, and my audience knows this, I've talked about this, and a lot of them were around for this, which was hilarious. But when I was running my last business, Hungry for Happiness, the company was doing $2.7 million at a 43% profit margin. Like it was a pretty decent business. Yeah. And everything in me was like, you have to shut this down and start pause breath work like today. Yeah, like it's not even like eventually phase it out. It's like no, like go into your Stripe and cancel everyone's subscription.
Right. Yes.
And it was so wild because I was like, okay. And it was undeniable, you know, like absolutely undeniable, because I felt that there was something greater that was emerging through me and I couldn't do both. It didn't add up. And it was the greatest thing that I've ever done, you know, or the time where my intuition's like, you have to move to San Diego from Vancouver, different country, different everything. And everything in me is like the logical mind's like, this makes absolutely no sense. But it's like that little whisper of God is like, just go follow that, you know? And I find it so much with the student, like our students who join us in our facilitator training. Like the biggest thing people say when they join our breathwork facilitator training is, I have no idea why I'm here. This makes no sense. Right. And I'm like, you'll figure it out.
Yes. And you're exactly the person that you're looking for. I remember the moment I had gone to San Diego on a random last minute spring break trip from Maryland. And we landed at the airport, we rent a car, we're driving up the 5 right around Mission Bay. Like I can remember it. Like you remember the moments you hear the whisper. I'm in the passenger seat and I look over to my left, like past my boyfriend at the time, towards the sunset. The sun was setting. And I was like, we need to move here. And he, you know, we're in college, in-state tuition. He's like, we're not moving here. And I'm like, why not? Why not? And then I ended up moving there on my own a couple years later. And it was like, God knew exactly, like when you connect into those moments and those places and those spaces or those people, like you feel it.
Yeah.
And I mean, even my people will ask me like, how all this insane success and crazy, amazing things happen. I'm like, because I always listen and I'm so well versed in it now. Like, oh my gosh, my husband and I were just having this conversation the other day. So I have teenagers, they're like mega athletes. So they're kind of getting into that like recruiting phase where like everybody's offering them shiny objects and, you know, are they going to go here and what do they want? And I said to him, I was like, babe, but they don't know yet how to really listen to that whisper. Like we've tried to raise them in that, but this is an experience that we're going to have to really teach them to shut out the noise and what their friends are saying and what their college advisor is saying and like listen to the knowingness. And as long as we follow that, like they will end up exactly where they're supposed to be.
That's so good. How old are your kids?
They are 15 and 17.
15 boys, girls? Two.
Boy 17, girl 15. So he's a baseball player, she's a volleyball player.
It's so wild. Like it's like we all have that ability. Like they have that ability, just about cultivating. Like good on ya for doing that. Because you know, it's like it's we live in a world where like the intelligence of the intuition is not reflected back, and it's not like nurtured and cultivated. It's always like, what is the next logical step that we should do based on all of this outside stimulus? And truly, it's like having the discipline to listen is one of the greatest things that we can possibly do. Like there's these choice points that I get when I'm working where I'll look at like all the shit I have to do. And then there's this like feeling inside of me that's like, I can't take action on any of this stuff until I have like a deeper sense of clarity. Yeah. And it's in those moments that I get to like unplug from the matrix and the noise and just go have the discipline to actually listen, to figure out like, what are those hunches? What are those nudges? Like, what is God trying to communicate to me? And every single time I do it, like something drops in, and the energy after, I was like, thank God I did that. Cause I would have been going 100 miles down in the wrong direction if I didn't do that. And so it's like,
yeah, I know. And I totally feel the same way. And like, if you just jump into the action, like you're probably taking the wrong action, right? And it's like, we get that choice. We get that choice all day, every day, but we really get that choice when we wake up every day. And you asked me earlier, like what that process looks like, or what are some of the things that I do. So I'll share that, because I think when we wake up every morning, it's like, we've got a clean slate. We have detached from the mind from the day before. And so it's so important to take some type of time in the morning to go, like, to reground yourself, to realign yourself before you get into action. Because I love this world. Like, I'm not we've got the hustle culture and the anti-hustle culture. And I'm like, can we live somewhere in the middle? Because you got to do both.
It's like the boss babe and the soft girl. Like, can we do a little bit of both here, guys?
Right.
Why do we always got to live in the extremes? Come on.
Yes. And so a long time ago, and I feel like, again, this was like only God given to me, because I was mentoring thousands of people. So I ended up in this position where I had so much influence, and I'm always trying to figure out, like, how can I solve this for me? And then just pay it forward, then just teach it to you. And so I started this process, and I was like, gosh, it was really working for me, because I built a 7-figure business in like 2 years. And then I was teaching my people I was mentoring, and they were following suit. And I was like, I really don't think it's like a business strategy that we nailed. It's the more of that. It's like the success mindset and the inside game. And so what I teach is a process called like the high vibe method. So if you take vibe, the acronym, so vision, we've all heard it, and it seems so like trite and cliche, but like it's the foundation of everything. I mean, if you don't have clarity of vision and clarity of what you're going for and clarity of your goals, you really are waking up and taking action that leads to nowhere. So I teach like a deep dive into like how to get clear on that vision. And it's funny. I always think about this story, because I redo this every year, at the end of the year, going into the new year. And I deep dive for like 2 weeks. Like I do some deep work. I like, what do I really want? What's really important to me? And I remember one day, because my husband is so different than me. That's a good thing, right? But we were in the driveway, and I was like, well, have you like figured out your goals, your vision? And he was like, I think. And I was like, no, you can't just, like, you can't, and I get so angry, because like, there's the two sides of my personality, like go inside for 2 weeks. But then I'm so frustrated that I'm like, you can't just think for 10 seconds, like, oh, I think my New Year's resolution will be this. Because I'm like, that's why 99.99% of people don't make any progress. Like, you got to do the deep work. And so vision, once you have it, and I always call it, you got to do the dream work, which is like stepping out of your life, doing that deeper work, right? And then you step into your life and you do the daily work. So the daily work for me every day is I'm reading that vision every day. Like I'm reminding my mind. I'm reminding my mind, because if I don't, I'm just straying off into the wilderness, right? Like off the path. And I think, again, a lot of people are like, well, my vision's not really hitting. I'm like, well, that's because you probably didn't do the deep work ahead of time. Like my vision doesn't falter that year, So it's like the V is vision, do the deep work. Then you look at it every single day. And then one of the books that I wrote is, I say like you have to inquire to rewire. So as much as I love like the energy and the vibrational work, which is actually all scientific, I am certified in like neurolinguistic programming. And so there's a piece of this where you're actually rewiring your brain. I mean, we've all heard of this, right? I believe that questions rewire more than anything. So I always say inquire to rewire. So it's as simple as saying like, people will say to me all the time, like, I wish I had your confidence. I wish I had that unshakable belief in myself. I'm like, well, every single day I wake up and I say, how am I winning? How am I winning? On the days tears are rolling down my cheeks and I feel like a failure, I fight to find, how am I actually winning? And when you do that, every day you just stack it, right? You stack the case for yourself, which if you don't do that, the world stacks it against
That
you
is one
every
of the,
day.
that is so powerful. You know, I learned that like running a pause as a CEO. It's like, it's kind of like the goal of a CEO is to like look for everything that's wrong and fix it, basically.
Yes. Right.
And
That's
so
what our brains do.
every single morning, it's like I have to, before I go into business, I write a whole list that says pause positivity. What's everything in the business that's going amazing? So I love that. Okay, keep going.
Yes, because then you show up in that energetic space of like, and the embodiment of like, we're winning, we're crushing it. And then when you
Love
go
that.
out into the world
Love
and you
that.
be that, you attract it. Like that's how the manifestation works, right?
Yes.
And so vision, inquiry, and then VIB, we just said it. You have to actually become it. You have to become and live into that version. So I actually just put up a reel today that was like, manifestation isn't about desire. It's not about want. It's not about goals. It's not about what's outside of you. The secret to manifestation is being that future version of yourself right now. Like, how does that, if your goal is to make 7 figures, well, how does a 7-figure woman drive her car? How does a 7-figure woman show up to a Zoom call or eat her breakfast or put her makeup on? It sounds so silly, but that's literally the secret, is stepping into the feeling of how you would feel if you had it. And then here's what we just talked about. So VIBE, the E, because this is what a lot of woo-woo people miss, is you actually have to execute. Like you have to have a clear action plan. You can't just think, I'm just going to be it and it's all going to come to me. It's like, I always believe we're co-creating though. It's like we're in this co-creation dance with God, universe, source, whatever you want to call it. We are responsible for the action. So it doesn't have to be 50 things on your to-do list that you're manically burning out trying to check off. But to me, it's what 3 things do I need to do today? What are the 3 most important things I need to do today? And I need to try to probably do them in the morning, right? Get those wins under my belt, because I think I work with so many entrepreneurs. The biggest thing we're doing wrong is we're all so busy doing the wrong things. We're not spending time on I'm like, okay, you just did 45 things every day for the last 6 weeks and you wonder why you want to quit and you wonder why you want to burn out. If you actually just did 3 things every day for the last 6 weeks, you'd be thriving.
Yeah, 100%.
You know?
100%. Yeah.
So that's kind of my magic formula of like, that's what I go back to literally every single day of my life. I read my vision, I inquire to rewire, I literally close my eyes for 5 minutes and I step into that version fully of myself. I call it pre-paving it, right? You got to pre-pave that version of yourself. And then I execute. And if you just do that. Miracles. I mean, everything you dream of will come to pass.
And if you execute without doing the groundwork, you just feel like, what am I even doing? Where am I? It's like we're just spinning our wheels. I love that. What a great frame. You were one of the top Beachbody coaches. What was that like for you?
So that was that pivot at 37 years old when I built this brand and this business and this reputation of like brick and mortar that I was literally like, I felt like God handed me a box and I just pushed it back. I was like, no thank you.
You're like, I'm good. I'm good on that box.
Never in a million years will I ever do that. I mean, I used to literally say, I'll go to my grave before I ever do something like that. But I ended up at a time in my life where the, regimen of like workouts and personal growth and nutrition completely changed my life, completely changed my life. And it allowed me the opportunity to really pivot to the inside work with people. I had been a Pilates instructor. I was working on just the physical body. This gave me the space to be with people on their real inside journey. And that's what changes everything. And so because of that, and, because of me saying yes to something that I thought was going to ruin my reputation, that, people were probably smearing my name, blah, 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 blah. Blinders on, listen to that whisper. I built a multi 7-figure business and became number 1 in the company.
Number 1 in the company?
Yeah. Well, and think about this. This is where how crazy it is.
That's wild.
It's wild, right?
That's
my face was in Times Square. I'm like, And people are like, I want that success. I'm like, well, you got to take the biggest risks you will ever take in your life to have even a chance at that.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
my biggest fear has always been public speaking. Like I can remember physically, this is, can't be contained here. I remember physically sitting outside of a college class vomiting when I had to go in and give a speech. And I was like, this is the worst thing in the whole world. I never want to do this. And I was asked to speak when I was like becoming successful, of all places, for the first time. Like God has such a sense of humor because now I'm a public speaker.
Hilarious.
In the Superdome in front of 22,000 people. Like presidents don't talk to that many people.
No way.
Yeah. And because I said yes, right? Because I said yes.
Yep.
It was, talk about like literally an out of body spiritual experience. Like I was backstage like this and I walked out, I blacked out, spoke with like ease and flow and wisdom and said everything that just came right through me. And I walked off the stage and had one of those few experiences in your lifetime that you have that you're like, that's exactly what I'm supposed to be doing with my life.
That's so good. That's so good. What happened to Beachbody? It's just done now? We ended the scene?
So long story short, so COVID, we like shot through the roof. Like it was amazing because we were the only one in the market really online. And then because of COVID, 1 million companies came into the space, diluted everybody. Like Peloton went under, like everybody's tanking now. Boom. It went out of business last October. But because the business really started to struggle in like 2022, from my eyes, it got really toxic, and everything that I thought I hated about that kind of industry, it started to be. And so I pulled way back. Yeah. So it was a huge blessing in my life when it actually closed. Yeah.
And I feel like I, back in the day, this was like 10, 12 years ago, I did isogenics for a little while. It's like similar thing. It like really teaches you how to be an entrepreneur, but you're not taking all the risk of an entrepreneur. So then you can like learn those skills, Yeah. I think it's brilliant, like for people who want to learn accelerated growth and like you have what it takes to be an entrepreneur.
Right. Yes, I mean it's so true. I think that industry, so many of the greatest thought leaders like in the world started in direct sales because it's like an accelerator, just like you 100%. Said, for personal growth and entrepreneurship, Yeah.
So at Pause, we have something called an I Am Possible dream, which is an impossible dream that is absolutely possible because I am possible. Yeah. What is your I Am Possible dream?
Gosh, okay. You got to speak it out to the world, right? And I say this because, we're so scared sometimes to share the dream, but I actually was just like doing a visualization meditation midday today. And it's like, I just have a knowing in my soul. And it sounds so egotistical to say it out loud, but I'm like, I'm supposed to like teach the world. Like I know that I'll write a book, if not many books. And I just feel, but I'm not pressuring myself because for a while I was like, I've got to write the book. I've got to lock down the publishing company. And it was feeling like pressure, and it's not supposed to feel like pressure, right? And so I was like, that'll come at some point in my life, but so it's not a dream that like I'm racing after or pursuing every day with like my actions. But that's really my biggest dream, just because I want it. There's no greater dream for me than impact. There's no greater feeling than knowing you've really fundamentally changed people's lives, and to be able to do that on a massive level would be the biggest dream.
Yeah, it's so wild. Like I feel like what is possible for humans versus like what they think they can do, the chasm of that is so massive. So it's so cool to, set examples and just go after it. And one of my friends, Ben Hardy, he has this concept of like the 10x is easier than 2x. He wrote a book called that with Dan Sullivan, and it's really about like, let's freaking go for it. Like go for the 10x, go for the thing that is like quote unquote impossible. Because that is actually easier than like improving a little bit or making a little bit of impact. Like how can we really activate those I Am Possible dreams to the nth degree so that people feel excited to help us as well. It's like when we share a dream like that, we inspire people to either support our dream or for them to create their own. Love that.
When I read that book, I could look back, and it's really a cool experience to be able to look back. Like I was able to look back on those Beachbody years, and every word I read in that book 10x is easier than 2x, I was like, oh, that's exactly, I didn't know what I was doing.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
that's what I was doing the whole time. Like, it was like, well, if I'm going to shoot here, why don't I just try to be in the top 10? If I'm going to shoot for top 10, why don't I just try to be number 1? Like,
Yeah.
you just, and the other thing that those companies create, if they're not toxic, is an environment with people around you that are believing in you and cheering you on, because that's I think the hard part about being a solopreneur is like, yes, we try to create our own circles, but it's not as easy as when you're just put in a circle and you're kind of in it.
Yeah.
Because you need to like have those people that just constantly breathe belief into you all the time.
Totally. Yeah. That's one of the most powerful things is like that belief. I remember one of my mentors, this was probably like a decade ago, Neil Moore, we were like sitting in this restaurant, this sushi restaurant in Vancouver. And I just remember him communicating to me how much he believes in me. And there was something about that moment that just felt like such oxygen of like, oh my gosh, there's someone outside of me that believes in me that much. When I'm communicating my dream. And like that type of energy, that type of connection is so, so, so important, especially, for entrepreneurs. It can be quite a lonely journey at times.
Yeah. I always say there's a process that I teach people, and I just call it a 1-pager. And I'm like, when you've got this big dream, create a 1-pager. And that 1-pager is like what we're doing on a daily basis when we're rewiring, but it's the proof. Right? Yeah. It's that guy that said that however many years ago. It's that other person that said that. It's that other person. And look at that on a consistent basis, because we so often can't find the belief every single day within ourselves. But when we remind our mind that these incredible humans they see that potential, we borrow that belief from them. And so that 1-pager is so incredibly powerful. And a perfect example of that is when I was shooting to be number 1 in the company, which was really like insane. And it like January, February, March, April, May, June, July, like all of those months, I was like number 2 by a landslide, and not a good way. Like no one in the history of time has ever caught up and made it to number 1 ever. Right. So you can choose to focus on that story. Or I just I stack the proof every day of like, why me? Why me? Like because of this, because of this, because of this. And when I would read that list, I would believe every day. I'm like, oh, this is inevitable. It was like, I was completely kind of bullshitting myself, but I believed my own bullshit. Yeah. And so I lived it out. Right.
One of the things that we say in our mastermind all the time is, you have to prioritize your delusion over your doubt. It's like we got to be a little bit delusional, because if any doubt seeps into our dreams, we done.
Yes.
We done, sister.
Absolutely.
Babe,
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for coming on, sharing your love, sharing your joy, sharing your just like vision, your frameworks. I appreciate you. It's been awesome to drop in with you. What are you up to now, and where can people get amongst you?
Yeah, so Instagram's probably where I show up the most. So it's just Moira Kucaba on Instagram. That's my website. That's my YouTube. So if you can figure out how to spell the first and last name, you can find me anywhere.
We'll put it in the show notes.
But I have a lot of different programs, and you'll be able to find them all there. And I'd love to connect. I'm the one in my DMs. I don't outsource, somebody answering my DMs. So you can shoot me a DM. I'm always love to be in conversation and help people however I can. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you for coming on.
Thanks for
having
me.
Absolutely. To everyone listening, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Can't Be Contained. If this conversation was valuable for you, it would mean the world if you would leave us a review or share it with someone that you love. Have a beautiful day, and we'll see you guys soon. Bye for now.
Can't be contained.